Welcome back everybody. Today I'm making a video on the equipment that I use to get my recorded audio and video for my in-car shots for all of my track day content. This question has come up so many times in nearly every single one of my in-car track videos on what do I use to get the audio that I'm getting, how is your exhaust so loud, why doesn't my car sound like that, along with other questions like what video settings are you using? What camera are you using? How come my screen looks washed out and yours doesn't? So today I'm gonna take some time, I'm gonna go over all of the items that I use for my in-car video content and the settings that I have them set to. I'll also show you how the equipment is installed in the car, and hopefully this will help you get better on-track video for your content. All right, first things first is we're gonna cover the video portion. So the question I get asked most is what camera settings do you use, or what camera do you use? And that one's actually pretty simple. It's nothing fancy, it's not even new. It's an older GoPro Hero 7 Black, and I will cover the different video settings that I use for the GoPro as well. That is pretty straightforward. The settings are really what make the biggest difference. Things like the exposure value and widescreen or linear mode. All right, we are going to cover the settings that I use on the GoPro. What you want to do is go into the settings itself. So you can see here, I film at 1080p, 30 frames a second in linear mode. And the PT stands for Pro Tune, and that's the important part. We're going to get into the settings. Again, resolution, frames per second. I prefer to shoot 30 frames. I think it makes better content for YouTube. Plus most TVs handle a 30 frame rate just fine without issue. I'm not shooting cinematic video, so I'm not shooting in 24 frames a second, and 60 can sometimes seem unnaturally smooth, so I set it to 30. Now, this is an older camera, so the reason I do 1080 and not 4K is because I can't get a linear field of view with a 4K resolution on this camera. However, if you have a newer GoPro, like an 11, maybe a 10 even, that can do 4K with a linear field of view. And the reason linear is important is if you choose wide or ultra wide, what you'll get, or super wide, what you'll get or what you'll see happening is that the video will pan left and right as you are turning. So when I choose a linear field of view to keep it static. Pro Tune is on, you can see that. That'll give me some extra settings. Shutter speed is set to auto. Exposure value composition. So some people set this to -2, -1. I find that -0.5 works best, or -1.0. If you go a little more than that, what happens is that the interior cabin ends up being extremely, extremely dark. The exterior is great if it's a sunny day, but if it's cloudy or overcast or rainy, the exterior shot also ends up being dark. So I choose 0.5. Typically works really well for me in getting a great balance between what's going on outside of the car through the front windshield and the interior cabin as well. The white balance I have set to 5500 Kelvin. I think that gives the most natural light, most natural colors on the GoPro. ISO minimum 100, ISO max 1600. Sharpness I set to medium. I honestly haven't noticed a difference between low, medium, or high, so just leave it at medium. Color grading, set to GoPro. If you choose flat, it is very, well, it's flat, and it will require color grading. If you just set to GoPro, it's pretty solid at representing colors as you see them in the real world. Raw audio I have set to off. Mics I have set to audio. That way, as soon as I plug a microphone in, it will start using the exterior microphone or external microphone. And that's it. That's pretty straightforward. That is what allows me to get the settings that I get and the video quality that I do. Now, in order to get the audio that I get, you do need an audio adapter for the GoPro. I think this started with a GoPro Hero 5, but even on the newest, like 11 or 12 or whatever they're on now, uses an audio adapter. So this plugs into the USB-C port on the side of the GoPro. And then this allows you to hook up not only your microphone audio, but also a power input to keep this thing powered. And I'll show you how I do that as well. Now, the way that I get it mounted into the car is with this cruise cam mount. Now, unfortunately, cruise cam, I don't know, they went out of business or they're no longer making these, whatever it might be. However, I will have a link in the description for a similar product that you can get on Amazon. It's not too expensive, it's like $30 or $40. But essentially the way that this works is it hooks into the headrest posts. And you just loosen these up, you slide them to the appropriate distance on your headrest, and then you tighten them down. The particular unit here has a rubber isolator, which helps with vibration and things like that. But this is essentially just a GoPro mount that straps onto your headrest posts, and you just place the GoPro on it and you're good to go. Now, you're probably asking, well, Luan, what if I don't have headrest posts? Don't worry, I got you covered. There is also a mount that is designed to hook into the insides of like the seatbelt loops for a lot of vehicles that are out there as well. Now, if you don't have the fancy, headrest mount or the GoPro, and you just want to get some basic video using your phone, I will include a link to, this is probably one of the best phone suction cup holder mount things I've ever used. It's called a Mighty Grip. It is designed to just stick on your windshield, and it actually has a rubber isolator built into it, so it helps eliminate a lot of that shake as well. Again, links to everything will be in the description below. Come with me and I'll show you how I have the video equipment hooked up in my Camaro, along with what I've done with the routing for power to keep this thing powered on while I'm in the car so that I don't have to worry about the battery dying out on me. Okay, as far as setting up the camera on the headrest, now it doesn't look like it, but the Camaro actually has posts for the headrest. So what I do here is I will connect the GoPro to the headrest mount. And then I fold the seat forward just to give me better access to the back side of it. And then these just hook onto the posts themselves. Tighten it up. Lower the headrest, and then slide that as far out towards the center. And that gives me my center position for viewing out the window. To fine tune it, what I do is I just hop into the back seat, turn it on, and make sure that it's aimed correctly at the windshield, making sure it's getting part of me driving, it's getting the rear view mirror, my hand for the shifter, etc. Then it's just a matter of connecting the audio and power adapter to the side of it. Once you've got the adapter plugged in, all you need to do is then grab your USB power and microphone audio jack, plug them in, and you are ready to go. Now, I typically route this behind the headrest bar. That way it is not interfering with anything that I'm doing while I'm driving. Your mileage may vary depending on the vehicle that you're in, but that is pretty typical of what I do. Next, I'll show you how I routed the audio and power. So, now that you've seen how I've hooked up the video and mounted it in the car, let's cover the audio side, because that's one of my favorite questions that I get asked is, how do you get the audio that you get? My car doesn't sound that loud. Is that the stock exhaust? What exhaust do you have? Well, the answer is yes, that's the stock exhaust on the car. But I do have an external mounted microphone, and that microphone is a purple Panda. It's a cheap microphone. It's a lavaliere style microphone that you can pick up on Amazon, and this microphone does everything that you need it to do, and it's not some crazy $150 microphone. Now, what I've done from an external standpoint, if you don't want to permanently mount it, there are ways you can route it and just kind of lay it outside of the trunk. Put some tape over it so it doesn't move around, blow off, or whatever it might be. But I'll show you how I've mounted it to my car next to the license plate so that you can get some ideas on how you want to set it and place it in yours. Come along and I'll show you. All right, here we are at the back of the vehicle where I have the microphone mounted. You can see it is just to the left of the license plate. Now that is a wind muff or a cattail. You can take that off. I just have it there zip tied on so it doesn't blow off. You do want to use a zip tie when you put that on so that the winds don't take it away. But what I've done, I've drilled into this, the bottom of this here, and then it goes into the trunk itself. Now, this might be hard to see from underneath, so I'll get some light under here and hopefully that will help. So you can see where it's drilled in up at the top there. I've used some gaffer tape to tape it to the rear crash bar, and then it goes into the trunk. And I've put rubber grommet on everything, and I've used silicone to seal it from the elements. Now I'll show you where that enters in on the inside of the trunk. And yes, that is just some paint to prevent any kind of rusting from drilling into the metal. Okay, inside the trunk here, you'll just lift this flap, and then down by the MagAlign suspension controller, if you have MagAlign, you can see where I brought it in. So that is the inside of the trunk, and then what I've done is I've just kind of routed the wire into the cabin underneath the carpeting. And I'll show you where it goes in the passenger cabin. All right, once we are inside the cabin, I just routed the wire, kind of tucked it in underneath the seat here, over in between the seat cushion and the plastic, and then I routed it underneath the rear seat, and then brought it down underneath this section here, and then popped it out. This is the only place where you can actually see the wire, but then I covered it up with, again, just some black painter's tape in this case, and then I routed it into the center console. Now, the reason I routed it to the center console is so that when I am ready to hook up to the camera, pull the wires out. This is now, I've combined two wires here. It is the microphone jack. See if we can get that to focus. And I also have USB for power. Now, I'm lucky enough that I have a USB power source here in the center console. Not everybody does, but if you can route a USB to the same area that you're routing your microphone, you can have audio and power going to your GoPro right from here. All right, so you've seen how I mount my camera. You've seen how I mount my microphone to get the audio that I get. Let's cover some extra peripherals that I've used in the past that I don't so much use anymore. I have a PDR in this car, a performance data recorder. So a lot of the data that I get, like throttle and brake input, G-forces, track map identifiers, RPMs, things like that, are all provided by the car itself. But not every vehicle has that, and I want to make sure that I cover that for your application as well. Now, there are plenty of phone or tablet-based apps that will do that type of data overlay for you. I've used Harry's Lap Timer in the past. There are lots of other options that are out there that are app-based, and this applies to all of those apps. What you can pick up is an OBD2 transponder or reader, code reader, whatever it might be. This one is a OBDLink MX Plus. I love this thing, it's fantastic. It works as a code reader, you can clear codes with it. It will also give you additional data that you can feed to your lap timer app. And if you want even more accuracy than what your phone's GPS can provide, there is an external GPS antenna. This is wireless, it's battery powered, you can recharge it by USB, and this will give you 10 GPS satellite connections. It is, I believe, a 10 Hertz frequency update, so it's very accurate. This is used in airplanes and other applications, not for track days or racing or whatever it might be. Through Bluetooth, it allows you to pair it to your phone. Same with this, through Bluetooth, it allows you to pair it to your phone. And it's low energy Bluetooth, so it doesn't drain your battery, and it feeds all that data to your phone. There are so many apps out there, I can't cover all of the different ones, but I can tell you that adding an external GPS unit and an OBD2 module will greatly improve the accuracy of your overlays. That's it for today's video. I'm hoping that you enjoyed what I covered. I was trying to make it quick and short and informative for you so that you just get the data that you need. And all of the links to the items I covered today will be in the description, along with some alternatives, like the alternative for the headrest mounts, alternatives for OBD2 readers, if this one's a little out of your budget, different cameras and things like that. Please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.